Namaste, everybody. Welcome to today's session of the IKS class on Jan 24, 2026. Let us begin with a pratna. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Namaste, everybody. So, as we are continuing with the humanities, Indic humanities series, we will follow up from all our previous learnings. Srini Mahoday will continue with today's series, and with that, I will hand it over to Srini Mahoday.
Dhanyawad. Thank you. Okay. Hope you can see the windows. Here's the entire screen. Did I? Okay. And so I'm going to go and then find. Okay. So you can see this, right? Can you?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. Namaste, everyone. Today, we're going to start with where we had actually stopped. It was Rita, Satya, and Dharma in the Upanishads and all that. And so we have been trying to apply Rita, Satya, Dharma, these concepts to everyday situations and some of the most important events that are taking place in our society. So today also, I just want to bring up the topic of the levels of the classifications of Rita, Satya, and Dharma. As you can see in the slide, this is also hierarchical. And on the left-hand side, you do see Rita is classified as cosmic Rita, the ritual Rita, moral Rita, and the inner Rita. This is the foundational order. And once the Rita or Rita is understood and you cognize and you verbalize, that becomes Satya. So the very word called Satya, it is derived from Sat plus suffix yam. Satyam. Sat means that which exists. And Satyam is your correspondence to that which exists. See, they don't see it as like it's not just a fact, but look at the orientation towards the order of reality. When Ritam is the order of reality. And Dharma is also, we have Samanya Dharma, Vishesha Dharma, and the social Dharma that what we call Niti, right? So that is also practiced, and sometimes it is social Dharma, is the conduct, which is, it can be sometimes in terms of rules and regulations too, which we call legal. Otherwise, it can just be social rules. When it comes to Samanya Dharma, it's the universal or Manava Dharma, right, which everybody has to follow. And Vishesha Dharma is the particular Dharma, which is something to do with Varnashrama Dharma. So that can be particular or special. And that is always in subservience to Samanya Dharma. And Ashrama Dharma, the stages of life. So Varna Dharma and Ashrama Dharma is what you're going to see in many, many aspects of epics and Indian life in general. Coming to Rita, Satya, and Dharma, it will be best if we have some examples of what's going on today, right? And then we'll start applying it. You do see here, so this is the second case study that we are taking. Now, after during the era of postmodernism and constructivism and all that, we are also seeing one of the movements from constructivism in the Western philosophy or the academic terms, but it is called wokeism, which is very popular. And nowadays it's called post wokeism too. You do see here one of the topics from the university that is actually covering diversity, social justice, and the educational leader. So it has a pedagogy, it has a framework, it tells teachers and lecturers on how to coach humanities or how to present topics in a way that is in adherence to the framework of woke pedagogy. So, what is all this, right? Just a minute, we'll go with this. So, this is one of the videos which, when we were discussing internally what kind of special topics that we can actually present. So, this is from Pracham, released yesterday. So, if you can see it for a couple of minutes, and then let's study this thing with our frameworks. Yeah, can you hear?
No, Ji.
No, Ji.
No?
No,
Oh, no. Okay. Uh, now?
no.
Nothing. Okay. So let's go here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go. It's not still. No, you can't hear still.
No, Ji.
No.
Oh, okay. Can't at all. So what do we do? Um, I will send this to. I can try something else. So I'm trying to uh, invoke Google. I'll have to rejoin uh, with Google Meet on Chrome. Okay, can you please wait for me, and then play it from there.
Okay.
Okay, you can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Now I'm going to share. Okay, and Just a second. When I opened the window, the link disappeared that opened. Just hold just bear a few minutes, please. Now I'm going to share again. Okay. And you listening? Can you hear now? Or
Still
no?
cannot,
Huh?
still cannot hear it.
Oh, you cannot. I don't know what's going on.
Can you share the link? Should I play?
Yeah, I'll do that thing now. Sometimes Google Meet gives that trouble, you see. And then I just need it for like until, yeah, click that thing.
Okay.
Yeah, you can start playing, then I will ask you to stop. I'll stop sharing. Yeah, go ahead. It's just a 2-3 minutes video.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying.
You can share the screen and then do that thing. It's like cold front in like 40 states. I don't know what happened.
Forms ready for many, from passion projects to enterprise-grade systems. Everything is built in and ready to launch. It's a new world of creation, where you can go as far as your imagination takes you. Can you imagine?
Yes.
Woke means. It means you're a loser. Everything woke turns to shit, okay? It's true.
सिर्फ 2024 में ही जनरेशन जी के 78% से अधिक युवाओं ने माना कि उनके सांस्कृतिक विचार परिवार या परंपरा से नहीं बल्कि सोशल मीडिया से बनते हैं। दुनिया भर में एक अजीब सा बदलाव हो रहा है। ये आंकड़े एक चिंता का विषय है, क्योंकि अब संस्कृति हिंसा से समाप्त नहीं होती, वह रिप्लेसमेंट के माध्यम से समाप्त की जाती है। पिछले 5 वर्षों में भारतीय त्योहारों को पिछड़ा बताने वाले हैशटैग असामान्य रूप से बढ़े हैं। ये सब एक रात में नहीं हुआ, यही वह संकट है जिसकी चेतावनी समर्थ गुरु रामदास ने आज से 350 वर्ष पहले दी थी। मराठाओं के लिए उनका संदेश था अखंड सावधान, सतत और स्थायी सजगता। केवल सेनाओं के विरुद्ध नहीं, बल्कि उन विचारों के विरुद्ध जो आपकी सभ्यता की रीढ़ को धीरे धीरे विनष्ट कर देते हैं। आज उस खतरे का एक नाम है, वोकनेस। वोकनेस भारत में नहीं जन्मी। यह अमेरिका में नस्लीय न्याय आंदोलन के रूप में शुरू हुई, विश्वविद्यालयों पर हावी हुई और 2018 तक एक वैश्विक ऑनलाइन विचारधारा बन गई। 2020 के बाद भारत में इसका प्रसार तेजी से बढ़ा। इंटरसेक्शनैलिटी इंडिया, ब्राह्मणिकल पैट्रियार्की जैसी खोजें और अमेरिकी एकेडमिक कंटेंट की बढ़ती खपत, ये इंपोर्टेड नैतिकता है जिसे बिना भारतीय संदर्भ समझे भारतीय पहचान में फिट कर दिया गया है।
My husband is very patriarchal that way. अगर मैंने कपड़े तो कपड़े हैं, पहने तो है ना। You will tell me what to wear. सुन मेरी बात, it's my choice.
पति हो घर पे, बाहर नहीं।
जब अमेरिकी सिद्धांतों को भारतीय संस्कृति पर जबरन लागू किया जाता है तो विकृतियां पैदा होती हैं। 2021 से 2024 के ट्रेंडिंग उदाहरणों में हमने ये साफ देखा। होली को उत्पीड़न का त्योहार कहा गया।
होली के जितना घिनौना त्योहार कोई नहीं है।
करवा चौथ को पैट्रियार्कल फास्टिंग।
What are you putting Karwa Chauth for? You are sustaining the patriarchal society. You are fasting for a husband who is probably, I don't know, cheating on you.
हमारी संस्कृत भाषा को दमनकारी भाषा और रामायण को स्त्री विरोधी महाकाव्य। यह आलोचना नहीं है, ये बड़े पैमाने पर नैतिकता की नई परिभाषा है, क्योंकि प्लेटफॉर्म्स इस तरीके के आक्रोश को बढ़ावा देते हैं। मेटा के अपने शोध बताते हैं कि नकारात्मक और भावनात्मक कंटेंट को 3 से 5 गुना अधिक एंगेजमेंट मिलता है।
These are platforms that are shaping an entire generation. They've already caused more harm than good, and the question now is not what they knew.
भारत में वोक राजनीतिक कंटेंट तटस्थ सांस्कृतिक कंटेंट से कहीं तेज फैलता है। यहां तक कि बहुत से ओटीटी प्लेटफॉर्म भी इसी प्रक्रिया में हमारी मेंटल कंडीशनिंग कर रहे हैं।
कभी कभी लगता है कि अपन ही भगवान है।
कास्ट प्रिविलेजेस की पोस्ट को हमारे इंडियन हेरिटेज की पोस्ट से ज्यादा बढ़ावा मिलता है। भारतीय ह्यूमैनिटीज के अधिकांश छात्र वोक यूएस सेंटर्ड एक्टिविस्ट पेज फॉलो करते हैं।
Hi, I'm Angel and I'm gender fluid. Sometimes I feel like a boy, sometimes like a girl, sometimes like both and sometimes like neither.
ये कोई संयोग नहीं है, ये इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ड्रिवन नैरेटिव शेपिंग है। अब आपको समझना होगा कि वे ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हैं। भारत के पास दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी युवा जनसंख्या है और ये दुनिया की सबसे प्राचीन जीवित सभ्यता भी है। यही संयोजन इन वैचारिक इंपोर्टर्स को भयभीत करता है। भारत में 40 करोड़ से अधिक युवा ऑनलाइन है। 85% युवा 30 सेकंड से कम का शॉर्ट फॉर्म कंटेंट देखते हैं और 70% मानते हैं कि पश्चिमी विचार उन्हें आधुनिक लगते हैं।
ये वन नाइट स्टैंड हमारी संस्कृति के खिलाफ है, एज पर दोज पीपल जो जज करते हैं।
ऑर्थोडॉक्स पीपल के लिए है, बट आज की जनरेशन के लिए आई डोंट थिंक सो।
व्हाई वुड यू लाइक टू सेलिब्रेट?
बिकॉज़ इट्स अ बेटर लाइफस्टाइल, लाइक देयर इज टू मच पोल्यूशन।
यही मेंटल कॉलोनाइजेशन है, विदेशी सोच को कूल बना देना और स्वदेशी मूल्यों को क्रिंज।
पुरानी सोच वाले, रूढ़िवादी सोच वाले बुड्ढों को ना अपनी ड्रेसिंग सेंस से ट्रिगर करने में बड़े मजे आते हैं।
ये अपने आप को कूल दिखाने के चक्कर में फूल बनते जा रहे हैं और नस्ल की नस्ल खराब कर रहे हैं।
ये मकौले 2.0 है।
मकौले ने भारत को अपनी जड़ों से उखाड़ने के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा अभियान शुरू किया। हमारी कला संस्कृति को, हमारी पूरी जीवन शैली को ही कूड़ेदान में फेंक दिया था।
और इसी तरह एक नई परंपरा उभरती है, भारतीय चेहरे लेकिन सोच और ढांचा विदेशी। वे परंपराओं के दर्शन को बिना समझे उनका मजाक उड़ाते हैं।
और यूपी कोई भी साल जाओगे ना तो एक आदमी चिल्ला रहा है, मंदिर यहीं।
There is no Hindu god of height. What good is it having all these extra arms if you can't reach anything anywhere?
गणेश की पहली प्लास्टिक सर्जरी आपने करी है, इंडिया में हुई है, तो ठीक से तो कर लेते। इसको देख के तो यही लगता है कि गांजा फूक के नहीं करना चाहिए सर।
स्थानीय तथ्यों के बिना विदेशी सिद्धांत थोपते हैं और पश्चिमी स्वीकृति को अंतिम सत्य मानते हैं। वे संस्कृति को नष्ट नहीं करते, वे आपको उससे काट देते हैं।
मेरा राम किसी की मस्जिद तोड़ के ऐसे मंदिर में नहीं घुस सकता।
राम मंदिर और मस्जिद दोनों वालों से पूछ लो, और अगर दोनों की सहमति हो तो वहाँ एक अच्छी यूनिवर्सिटी बनवा दो। 40% यूपी के पास बाथरूम नहीं है। इतना प्रसाद खिलाओगे तो छोड़ेंगे?
हेलो फ्रेंड्स, गौमूत्र पी लो।
All these misguided students study in all these various universities, JNU, especially in the humanities departments, they are all exposed to this new woke religion by these follow the Marxist ideology. It's all about destroying Hinduism, and it's going to become a bigger and bigger problem in India.
समर्थ गुरु रामदास ने लिखा था, दुष्चित नसावे, क्योंकि विकृत बुद्धि ही हार का पहला कारण होती है। और वोकनेस ये पुराने कॉलोनाइजेशन का एक नया एडिशन है, जो शर्म, हैशटैग और एल्गोरिथम दबाव से काम करता है। और इसी कारण ये श्रृंखला अस्तित्व में है। अखंड सावधान रहिए, क्योंकि अगला आक्रमण आपकी सीमाओं पर नहीं होगा, वो आपके मन मस्तिष्क पर होगा।
Okay. Yeah. All right, Moja. Let's go. Okay. Now that you watched it, any comments? How's the video? Anyone? Yeah. All right, Chandraji, Sri Pawaniji, DCG, right? Yeah.
Gee, I think with a lot of things to kind of get back to, because we are all embedded in the social media world, but we need to recognize
what is it?
The hashtagness of what it means and who is actually extracting that information.
Yeah.
And how it's going to be, it could be played against us if we put hashtag something. I'm feeling that right now. Even when I actually publish something on YouTube, in our own channel, something that has to do with traditional values. The search engines actually use all these things, but we just don't know how it's going to be like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now.
Yeah, because kids are watching all of these things, and they are more than parents. It's the kids that actually consume a lot of because of peer pressure. They keep talking about Instagrams, like how we talked about some big movies, right? So there are Instagram heroes which we don't even know. There are heroes. They all watch them and they talk about them. They're like the celebrities. Like the Bhagavad Gita says, Yadyadacharati shreshtaha tattadeva itaro janaha. Whatever the celebrities do, the people of society simply follow them, it seems. So, so they are setting the standards. And how do you know? How do you recognize that thing? Shri Pavaniji, would you like to comment?
It is a very big concern for me. I have a 7-year-old, and she's homeschooled. But now she has figured out what a profile is in WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And she's curious about it. So I moved from California to Texas to get away from wokeness. But it is chasing me. So I mean, it's like $1 million question, and my observation is most Indian parents, I would say here or even in India, are clueless about what's going on. It's like poaching, mind poaching. That would
Mind poaching. Oh yeah, very very nice term.
because it is, I would say, it is sad to note that even parents' minds are corrupted. I mean, I mean, just from my perspective, that's how I see it.
Oh, yes.
I take my daughter to a dance class, and one of her friends' mom is like, "Oh, she goes to the temple. Are they teaching religion there?" I mean, you are putting you're putting tilakam, right? You're wearing the toe rings, and I was like, why would you? You know, that's how it is.
Yeah,
It's very scary sometimes because it's hard to find uh, people who are even open to listening to all this.
And my question was more to do with the content. How do you see that the whole idea of not only see social media is influencing, and what about the the content of wokeness, when it says, "Oh, one day I can feel man, the other day I can feel woman, and sometimes I can feel both." And there was actually the guy. So how many hands you can have? It's all comedy. Sometimes it comes as comedy, right? But
Yes.
comedy is like a knife. Comedy should be used against something of lower value, not of the highest value. It is said, because it can chop off the highest value when you use comedy the wrong way, and so you're setting a bad standard. You can joke about Angada, Hanuman can joke about Ravana, but in the epics you don't see them joking about Rama, right? So there is it's called the Anga Angi Rasa. The Hasya Rasa should be subordinate to the Veera Rasa, not the other way. And when it is a Krodha, you can use it against it, because Krodha is considered somewhat from the Ravana side, it's a villain. So it's a bad character. You can use Hasya against that. So there are even Kavya takes care of those kind of. There are rules on how to use it, but yes, they have used it very well. But you don't see that nowadays. You do see as stand up comedy. How many hands can these gods have, because they can't reach top? This is the kind of joke that we have, right? Uh, making people uncomfortable, and basically trying to show that you are smart. You are smarter than Vyasa, Valmiki, or smarter than Bhavabhuti, Bhasa, Aryabhata, Brahmagupta, all of these people put together. But these are we are the smartest people because I'm able to think. That's here. And yes, DCG.
Yeah, so I'm trying to understand the obviously there's a lot of root causes as to how we got here, like the tech stacks and the companies that actually caused all this stuff.
Mhm.
The content, it was explained about Meta and Instagram and obviously YouTube and everything else. And I think the lack of knowledge seems to be the main
Main thing, yes.
barrier
Mhm.
or like a if you had to take a root like a pie chart of like slice it down by the root cause, right? um I think it's lack of knowledge. Is it because like two generations of um knowledge transmission that just faded away? I mean, we all go back to the same.
Yeah, I think that's the point. Actually, between 1890 and 1940s, I guess, there was this philosophical movement by John Piaget. It's called constructivism, right? And where we had talked briefly about it, where, oh, I mean, there's no such thing as reality, truth, and all that. It's the language that we use, and we come to agreement with the societal members and call it truth, but it actually happens to be concepts of language that we come up with. It's a social construct. It is not mapping to anything real outside. So if I were to give an analogy, a traditional Western philosophy saw the Christian influence, those kind of things. They saw reality as um, a Lego world. Everything is made up. It's out there. It's all built up for you. Somebody has done it for you, and you can't mess with it, right? And here's a book. You got to follow it, and then go participate in this Lego world. And here, constructivism walks in. Shri Pawaniji, yes, I see your hand. Please, you had to say something.
I mean, I think even the feminist movement also has added fuel to this.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, too. Where, yeah, it's it's patriarchy, right? So patriarchy has come in, and everything. All these rules and laws and roles are given by the men of the society. So therefore, it's all one-sided and highly biased. It doesn't work at all. So we've got to change everything through rebellion. So let's look at this Lego world, and that's how they used to saw it. And there was a rebel against it, and they said, "Oh, there's no such thing as a Lego world. It's it's just pieces out there, and each time we come in and then we build our own Lego from our own ideas. So we construct reality because we agree with a certain few members. We construct reality, and then we probably build it. And now there is no Lego, no words. It's all about, I mean, if I'm a victim, I know how to see the world. So victimhood narratives are extremely popular. And so I can use language, and I can use my own constructs and my subjective experience, my subjective inner feelings. They will dictate reality. We will change this world of injustice. So this is going on, and how do we see it? Right? So that is what the point of our discussion is today. Anyone else has a comment? Radhika ji, Surekha, Chandra ji, haven't spoken much. Yes, Modya.
Yes.
Ashwin, yeah.
So, yeah. So one thing I found that if we parents also, if we do not spend time with the kids, then also this problem increases because the media, they try to do the analysis, and what we have to do is we have to do synthesis. So what I mean is we have become lately very everything is at slice and dice analytics, everything is analyzed. So take a Ramayana, take some one Khanda or one Parva in Mahabharata, and then one verse, and then some sentence, and then slice and dice that, and or like Ganesh ji, or so many things. So we, or for the Holi Utsav, or for Karwa Chauth, just take one specific instance and elaborate on it. So that is like a slice and dice analytic part. But all, or our heritages, we slice and dice like various doshas or various, but then we join together to make something. So the never process is never completed with the analysis, but it completes with the synthesis of that what you analyzed. So from that synthesis, the bigger picture is emerges, and that is what we were taught. But but this is a hard process, and we have to do swadhyaya. Parents have to, or Hindus, if we have that time, if we use that time to continuously do swadhyaya and do the synthesis ourselves, then
Yeah.
it should it inculcates the habits in the next generation. So I think we should. I feel that yeah, that synthesis part is the one. Wokeism is never synthesis; it's only analysis and then leave it at that. Eventually, it will be taken over by. They never
So there's
conquer any.
yeah.
It will be taken over by the Islamists.
No, it's actually you're right about that thing. Now there is something called as post-wokeism. So they recognized wokeism just didn't work. I mean, it's not politically very successful. So they have sort of see you see that it's all driven through the academia. Most of it is from the academia, very systematic studies and then courses and billions of dollars of funding, and they prepare students, and the students now become adults, and now they're on the street working and all that, and then they go for protests and stages and whatever, right? So these, including the riots, to establish identity. Here's my identity, and I have a different identity. It's not what you give, but I have taken it. It's my right. It's my right to establish my own identity. So identity politics currently. And I can define my identity by saying that I'm a cat. I feel like a cat today. All right. So that's an identity that they take. It's gender fluidity. So I can a man one day at 12 o'clock, but I'm a woman at 2 o'clock, and those kind of things. So this is all deconstruction, constructivism, deconstructivism. Everything is going on. But how do they anchor it back so that argument is also going back? So we have to base it on something that is more concrete and anchor it, and then come up with this lived experience. If I have this lived experience with my identity, then I have the truth. So this wokeism plus lived experience is called post-wokeism. So that is currently the trend. So that politics and that kind of politics will also come up, pretty soon, because from 2018 to 2025, it was not extremely successful. And so there is a mutation now. Okay, so these philosophical movements keep mutating, and they take the shape of politics. And here, let's see it through our frameworks, and especially the Nyaya framework. Look at this thing. And okay, now you're able to see it now, right? Oh, okay.
Yes.
And slideshow. So I just wanted to show that in the Nyaya Darshana, how does it map to reality? How does it map to Ruta, Satya, and Dharma? And how each Darshana actually connects to these basic constructs that we have, Ruta, Satya, and Dharma. As we talked about it, Ruta is the order of reality. Satya is the conceptualization or the verbalization in correspondence to Ruta, right? It orients towards reality, and Dharma is the action of Satya, the conduct that you're putting the Satya into. That is Dharma. So Tarka Sangraha was a 17th century work compiled by Annam Bhattacharya. He combined both Vaisheshika and Nyaya Sutras to come up with Tarka Sangraha. Right? So it is not actually ethics. It's not a Dharma Shastra, but it's an epistemology and ontology. So it's the core concern is, how do we know anything at all. Right? What are means to know? What are our valid means to know? When is knowledge true? When does it become, oh, there is something, but there is something that I know, right? And what is the structure of reality? So they're called Padartha Mimamsa. That places it squarely at the Rita Satya interface. So what I mean to say is Rita and the Satya and Dharma. So these are the three common denominating LCD of all darshanams, of all Bharatiya darshana. They always agree on this. I mean, they may differ, or they may have some variance about thoughts of Rita, Satya, and Dharma, but they all agree on Rita, Satya, Dharma, including Buddhists and Jains. Right? But most of the Abrahamic religions actually start with their own nitis. You see, with niti is only one part of Dharma. Rita and Satya, they don't even care. But how do they care? It's all about, to them, truth means being factual, right? Being factual to their ethics, which is a part of Dharma. So we talked about all of that. And even when it comes to Nyaya, it's all about using the right method more than what should be done, what is Dharma. So that is Nyaya Darshana. And you can see how it complements to other Dharma Shastras. So Rita, as we know, the order of reality or the cosmic order, it was discussed in the Vedas, the Upanishads, and all of that. And it's all about lawfulness of reality. Not the law of reality, but the lawfulness of reality. What does it mean? Let's say the analogy of Lego world, right? So Rutam is more like, oh, there is the universe of Lego world, the universe of Legos, and the manual is written into this universe. Whenever you come across and see some pieces, but you got to recognize the Ruta behind that. That structure, that manual of the universe, how things, the structure or the pattern of the universe is the universal manual, and that is independent of mind. So we have to use our mind in order to orient towards this. So therefore, how do they study? They recognize the structure of the patterns. They said, the reality is actually structured into 7 padarthas. Dravya guna karma samanya vishesha samavaya bhavaha padarthaha. So there are 7 categories. That is Dravya, Guna, Karma, Samanya, Vishesha, Samavaya, and Abhava. So Dravya is the substratum or the substance, like things that exist fundamentally. And Guna is the attribute or the quality. For example, there is a flower, right? So softness is a quality, and that is intrinsic to the flower, right? Quality of flower. And karma. And every, for example, you look at a vehicle or a car, the karma of movement is intrinsic to what you call a vehicle. Samanya is the universal quality. For example, there are existing animals, with the cows, but cowness is the samanya lakshana, the universality. So that's also a quality. And similarly, particularity is a vishesha, the special quality that distinguishes it from other animals, like the dewlap of a cow, right? That's a very peculiar to all the cows, but that is not there in any other animal. Samavaya is nothing but the inherence or the quality that is not contact or conjunction a red flower. A red flower, redness is in here. It's no, it is always it is an inseparable quality. The hardness of stone is an inseparable quality. So that's also a category. And abhava. And what is there in a no? You saw a chair, and then the chair is not there. You went to that room. You had kept the chair, but the chair is not there. So there is absence of chair. According to Nyaya, the absence is also a category, and that category is real. Okay, you are not going to say, "Oh, there is an absence of a three-horned elephant." You're not going to say that because it's a fictitious object, and there's no absence of a fictitious object doesn't even make sense. So absence of an existing thing only can give you meaning, and therefore absence is also a category according to Nyaya. So this is how they classified the entire structure into 7 categories. And are they studying Rutam? No, they are studying what they think reality is. So it is analogous to Rutam, and they will study Rutam, okay, by making this 7 classifications. And what about Nyaya? What about Satya? The definition of Satya is Yathartha Anubhava Prama. The true cognition is the cognition that corresponds to the object as it is. Now, you know that they are not saying that truth is social construct. You see that? They are not saying that. Yathartha Anubhava Prama. That Prama is the knowledge that you have to gain about. So, because the true cognition is cognition that corresponds to the object in reality. Therefore, truth is correspondence based. We are simply using our mind to map it to the outside world, and that is the way to understand the world. The reality is not sitting within me, reality is not so independent that I cannot understand. No, I can't. So this relationship between the knower and the known is important. And anyone wants to say anything? I heard okay. So
just a quick question on the Satya Nyaya, right?
Yeah.
What is the exact opposite of this? Because
Satya and you mean Rutam or Satya?
So
Satya is what I'm trying to say here is the Satya of a generic term that we used in Nyaya. That Satya is called Prama. In Nyaya, that's they see Satya as Prama, that which is cognizable, that which exists in reality. And Nyaya is to arrive at that Prama, to make it so that is Satya for them.
Okay. Now I'm trying to understand from a context. Obviously, Asatya is obviously what didn't happen is somebody trying to make it an Asatya and then build a story upon it, right? Then it goes, it's not Nyaya, right? So I mean, literal opposites, right? But then the constructing of something that is Asatya, I mean, from Asatya to that, they have all these fancy words these days, right? I'm trying to connect the current world of like making their own stories and then on top of it. Is there such a word in Sanskritam that's close to
Aprama?
Aprama, okay.
I'll come.
Is that what it is?
Is Anrutam, Asatyam, Aprama. Yeah, it's all there. Yeah, we'll come.
Dhanyawad.
Yeah, I mean, look at the way they have studied. Okay, and you see, okay, truth is just correspondence based, and it's not coherence. Just because you can logically present something, but it does not map to reality, that is still not Prama. Okay. It is not consensus. It's not, you cannot vote. You cannot gather people and then vote. Oh, Earth is flat. You can't do that in Nyaya. It never happened in India, right? So it's not by consensus. Not that everybody agrees, but there's no consensus-based truth. That is exactly what constructivism is saying, right?
Right. Yeah. Gee, there's one more person that has a question.
Yes, please. Yeah, I'm glad you announced it. I can't see when I switch between windows. Yes. Who's that? I don't see any hand raised. All right. Okay.
Hello.
Okay. There's someone.
Hariom, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, sure, Kamaji. Yes, please. Yeah.
No, I had put up my hand earlier
No.
when the other, just the previous discussion was going on. I just wanted to ask if that meant perspective. What Satya is, when what I think what you're saying, what they are presenting truth to be, right? Is that called perspective? What we can call it as perspective. Somebody's perspective is
Anrutam. You did not even see Rutam.
Mm.
If you're if you don't even see that there is a world out there, outside of you, and then you read you did not read the pattern of reality, the order of reality. That's it. It's Anrutam. Anrutam leads to Asatyam. Asatyam leads to Adharma. Right? So let's come back to that thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they have the paths clearly laid out. This is what's going to happen. So it is not about, something is not even utility based. Utility meaning James Stuart Mill, one of the utilitarian philosophers, a British philosopher, his father also wrote a very nasty book on India. Anyway, so he seemed to have brought use of logic in politics and sociology and all that. What he said was utilitarian theory, and you all know that if the greatest good is the greatest good for all, or greatest good is the good for the most number of people in the society. If that is the case, it's truth, it's good. Okay. And you see Marxism also playing that role. And now, is it feeling based? I feel one day this way, I feel that, a man one day, I feel a woman one day. This oscillation, they're all feelings, right? And does it correspond to rhythm? No. Is it Satya? Nyaya says, no, it's not even Prama. Okay. It is Yathartha Anubhavaha Prama. It has to be a very long, in many different situations, you should have the same exact experience, and then you should come to an inferential truth. Then it becomes a Prama, which is Satya. Right? Okay. How Satya is known from the dharmic world, in the dharmic world, suppose Ramayana, Mahabharata, and all those epics, they give a lot of examples on what dharma is, right? And dharma shastras also. They all say truth aligned with reality. That's how we defined it. But how does Nyaya see it? It is cognition corresponding to object, padartha. That is what they call Prama. So Prama is Satya for them. And Satya is always discovered, because Rutam and the rules of the Rutam, it's discovered. Morning sun come, morning I see sun, the evening sun goes. So sun is in the morning and night is they are days and night, and they come in cycles, they have a repeating pattern, Rutam. Okay. And it's discovered. We don't construct it. Whereas Nyaya accepts it, philosophically. But the method says it arises from valid pramana. And dharma is independent of desire. Satya is independent of desire. Prama is independent of wish or will. So they agree. So Satya in Nyaya is Yathartha Jnana in nothing but Yathartha Jnana, the truthful knowledge. Pratyaksha Anumana Upamana Shabdaha Pramanani. Pratyaksha, direct perception. Anumana, inferencing based on the perceived perception, the five senses. And Upamana, analogy. And why do we have analogies? Because we see that in reality, and we see the sadrushya lakshanam, meaning we see that similarity in another situation or another object, then we make a relationship. Through analogous means, that is also considered a pramana. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana Shabdaha Pramanani. They are the instruments of knowledge. If your knowledge is not through these, through the pramanas, it's not a prama, therefore it is not knowledge. And this is your question, DCG. Okay, and also Shivakamiji. So what is asatya and aprama? Tarka sangraha apannam bhatta, which is nothing but the Nyaya plus Vaisheshika. They carefully explain what is error. That error is called the Brahma. And a rope can be mistaken for a snake, or shell mistaken for silver. But what actually happened? And when you see a rope and then call it a snake, the first question is, does it follow the logic of Rutam? Is that how reality is structured? No. So it became Anrutam. And because of the Anrutam, the mistaken understanding of reality, mistaken cognition of reality, it results in asatyam. Asatyam means that which does not exist, not fact or not truth. There are subgroups under satya. Satya only means correspondence to reality. Satya vrata. Okay. Ramastu satyavan. So he always orients himself to reality. Reality exists is what is called is Rutam, right? Mind can misapprehend it. Yeah, I can go wrong. Rutam doesn't go wrong. I can go wrong in understanding it. And action based on error follows because my misapprehension, this Anrutam, is the cause. Therefore, Satya means non-existence. Asatya is nothing but the misalignment with what exists in simple terms. And that is also how Dharma defines it. Okay. And we're going to compare Nyaya's Prama with the modern constructivism, which is currently playing in. There are different mutations of constructivism. Okay. That's a philosophical movement of the West, just 100 years old, but it has mutated, like taking various shapes and forms, especially in the universities, especially in politics, especially in social life. So what is the nature of reality? In Nyaya, we say reality exists independently of mind and language, right? That is Rhythm. But constructivism says reality is mediated, you see. Other people have to, I interact with other people, they tell me what this Lego world is. It's not like that actually. It's just it's constructed by language, power, and institutions. There's no such thing as rhythm. It's simply an understanding by a certain set of people in the society, in certain time, in certain place. Okay. So, what is the example? Gravity exists whether you name it or not, according to Nyaya. Right? Gurutva, Akarshanam, Vikarshanam, whatever, right? Akarshanam, Akunchanam, all these movements, the pull of this earth is real. That's how they define it. It exists whether I believe in it or not, whether I name it or not, whether my peer group agrees or not. all these social categories, they may be shaped by discourses, but Nyaya doesn't agree. Right? But constructivism says social categories are shaped by discourse. Somebody saw something and they come up with these terms as truth. For example, why do you think this happens, right? Those who are not worshipping my God or my book, they are supposed to be executed. And that resulted in witch hunting in Europe. If you see 16th century to even modern or the medieval America or 18th, 19th century America, I mean, the witch hunting was going on. Even to this day, that kind of thought exists in certain Orthodox circles, but the language and how they define it is very different. For example, Hypatia, one of the she was a woman philosopher from Egypt, and she was a mathematician as well. She was raped and killed in a church, right? Calling her a witch. That happened. So Hypatia, there's a movie also called Agora. So you can watch it on Netflix. Agora. It's a story of Hypatia. I think Rachel Weisz or somebody has acted as in that role. So that has happened, and that kept happening. And Arthur Mills' story is also here, right? With the famous play, Crucible. That is still a very great American play, a great author. And that play is also extremely famous in theaters. And how do we define truth? Yathartha Anubhava in Nyaya, but in modern constructivism, truth is just a framework dependent. It varies by discourses. This is Overton Windows, and it varies by discourses. When what was true 20 years back is not true anymore. What was true 50 years back is not true anymore. So these kind of things keep happening here. And so constructivism is the philosophy which actually says it's all framework dependent. Fire burns is true for Nyaya, right? Regardless of culture. How do they answer this? Nyaya says, it doesn't matter. Fire burns, that's the quality, right? And that is not going to change. Versus, hey, it's normal speech varies in society, constructivism. Fire burns, it's not that they will disagree, but other than those physical facts, all facts that are shaped by the mind, they all have to be discarded because they were true at one point, not anymore. You might have heard that thing too. Why do you keep telling me all these examples of Ramayana and Mahabharata and all those epics? They have nothing to do with what exists today. Stock market exists now. In Ramayana and Mahabharata times, it did not exist. What are you talking about? This is important now. Spend more time in understanding stock market and not epics. It doesn't give you anything. Right? So these are the kind of things that we keep hearing. Right? And source of knowledge in Nyaya tradition, it's pramanas. In the Indic traditions too. Right? Pramana. It's perception, inference, comparison. Analogy is nothing but comparison. That's our Shabda. The expert knowledge. For constructivism, social practices, narratives, power relations. Now you see, you can recognize everything by the source of knowledge in this column for constructivism. Do you think social practices are the norm today? Whatever the US does in terms of, let's say, a certain type of culture, let's say cancel culture. If everybody cancels you for having an opinion, many universities do the same thing. It will be preached, and it actually goes to other nations such as India, and they do the same thing, right? And narratives today, if you don't have a victimhood story, you'll not be respected. You're not going to be popular. Nobody is going to believe that you're genuine. because you don't have a personal experience of being a victim. So how can you know who is an oppressor and who is a victim? If you don't have a victim narrative, you can't even shape a policy. And that victimhood narratives do exist because there was always an oppressor and the oppressed. These power relations defined what is true, what is not true. That these have to be quashed and dismantled. So that's the new trend. Nyaya's example is medical diagnosis. Right? You have a certain disease and you take a certain treatment, and if you diagnose it properly, you can treat it properly. Versus the critique of medical norms as socially shaped in constructivism. Right? It's all social agreement. It's not really true. Many times it goes on its own, or there are other alternate ways of doing things. Okay, and if the society agrees that is a way to do it, it should be practiced. It's all about who is authoritative, who has the power. They can shape the norms. The role of language, language has to point to reality, and we see that vagartha viva samprukto vagartha pratipattaye, meaning we saw language as a combination of words and meaning, and they're inseparable, like Shiva and Parvati, like mother and father. Right? We don't create it; it points to reality, and the reality is the meaning, and language is the word. Right? So that kind of relationship. So it points to reality. Therefore, learning language and using language properly is extremely important. That's the view of language itself. But here, constructivism, language is just to constitute meanings and social reality. So you agree with a certain group of people and you have more people, the majority can shape the opinion. Right? Renaming fire does not stop burning, according to Nyaya. And renaming identities changes social recognition in constructivism. You might have seen in the corporate culture or even in the business conduct, the guidelines that we sign every year. And after that, you might have seen in all your offices, people change to he, him, they, them, she, he, and all of those kind of things. Suddenly everything changed. It was not a problem until 2021, but everybody had to declare it, right? So the identities were changed. I don't know how it happened in India, but it happened here. And we all know that. And so how woke is, but at this point, do you have any comments? It's 8:17, so we have 10 more minutes. Just wanted to see if you have anything to add or say before we move to wokeism, which is nothing but a mutation of constructivism.
Yeah, I have a comment. Besides the actual wokeism or not wokeism, the understanding of it, again, with the reality or, with the Satya and Dharma, right? Not being aware, people are creating also psychological, they calling it words of misdiagnosis and everything else in terms of how they're making their own world mentally impacted. That's also happening. There's these new things that come up because of social media, and
yeah
not just that, it's psychological impact because you don't know.
We don't even know how it's working on our kids.
Right. It's
because
amplified.
The world is yeah.
Right. It's being amplified, and also now AI is going to even have a bigger effect on not the facts are going to be completely. Well, I don't want to be negative about it, but I'm just saying that there could be some unintended consequences.
The
If
Anrutam is the one they recognized even in the Upanishad. Anrutam na bruyat. The moment you misapprehend reality without help, or if you don't see, if you can understand rhythm, amazing. If you cannot, you got to learn from the experts and authoritative people. Study. There's so much to know about the world, but you come to your own conclusions because of your peers or because of social media, and it will be based on rhythm, because majority is extremely powerful, and social culture, social media is extremely powerful. That becomes the ahara. Ahriyate iti ahara, meaning that which we take from the world through our senses, that is the food to the soul, to the food to the mind. That is ahara. And that food is the one which can be completely misunderstanding rhythm, right?
Right. So with that said, do you believe we should? I mean, there should be set of things that parents should be doing for the kids that that can stay away from or not get exposed, especially with the kids, right? Like Sripawan Ji was saying, that you escape from California and you come to Texas,
Yeah,
and then you see a similar thing because it's internet is universal, content is everywhere. No matter which country you go to, you get the same deal of dose. I mean, every different angle. So if there's some, let's say you avoid TV or cut off your internet, or you have certain rules like that. I'm just thinking about young kids these
Yeah,
days. How
I
you can
don't know whether you can actually do that thing, because when COVID started, my kids went to the other room upstairs, and they were there throughout the day. Right? And they were studying, they were attending school and all of that. And after a year, I see that they were, my second one were never came out of the room. It was used to it sitting there for a year. Okay. And you don't know how many, it's not just I know that it's not just the lessons that they're reading. It's a world out there. It's a completely different world. And what is coming in, who is teaching them, they are definitely not the people that you know. So can you avoid it? I don't know how to avoid it. I don't think I have an answer. But what has to change? There has to be good materials and alternatives in the social media too, where you can point to your kid and train them what to receive, what is the ahara for them. So that should come through education. That should come through, the culture itself. The only way is education and involvement with the kids. Yeah, I mean, practically what, right? Practically, I still think, in terms of education, the epic stories, the Panchatantras, the Hitopadeshas, Aesop's fables, all these things will help.
ధన్యవాదాలు.
Yeah, because brain is wired for stories at that age. Their imagination is a lot more important than instead of exposing to an animation, probably parents should spend more time in telling stories, because what brain imagines is a lot more powerful entertainment compared to what is already made and given to them. For example, I used to read novels, I used to read books, and I found them a lot more entertaining than watching a movie based on that novel. You all might have that kind of experience. Reading a book is a lot more entertaining than watching a movie. That's what people said, even for Tolkien's story. What's it called? Tolkien's
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah, reading Lord of the Rings was amazing, actually. And also, than watching the movie, people just watched the movie, they enjoyed it, but they are the ones who did not read the novel. Okay. For Born Identity, for that matter, I used to read Born Identity, and watching the movie was not a great experience. But I loved the action in Born Identity. You all might have had the same kind of experience. If you're a good reader and you read well, you would have enjoyed that so much because your imagination is a lot more powerful than somebody else's, especially movies. Okay, so this slide is the one that I wanted to sort of show. Uh, in Nyaya, when it comes to truth, it's called Vastu Tantra, meaning it's very objective, but it has to be grasped. We are that subject to object relationship, that is knower and the known. Vishaya Vishayi Bhava. That relationship is real, that must exist in order to correspond to the objective reality. Wokeism is all constructed by social position you are in. You view the world differently, he views the world differently, therefore, world is not objective, it's all subjective. And it is shaped by the powerful people. Post-woke is the one that is mutating now in the universities. It is semi-constructed, and so it's all intersubjective stability. They have recognized that you can be purely subjective, but you got to make these groups and to push your agenda, to push your perspective. So that way, you shape reality. Knowledge. Knowledge, according to Nyaya, is Vishaya Vishayi Jnana via Pramanas. If you're not using the Pratyaksha Anumana, Pratyaksha and Upamana Shabda, forget it. You're not aligned with reality. You're not aligned with Rutam. Not sorry, Artha, but Rutam. And woke is identity-based lived experience. That is super important. What I feel my identity is, that is true. Nothing that you say, there's no pramana or anything. My feeling, because that is my experience. Who are you to say that that pramana, this pramana is yours, not mine? Okay, if I feel like a cat, I am a cat. Okay, and post-woke is, there is some kind of hybrid going on now. It validates experience, lived experience, and it seeks shared verification. Okay, I feel like a cat. How about you? Do you feel like a cat? Oh, she also feels like a cat. Let's make a cat team club on the campuses of the university. Right, it's valid today. Can you believe that? Okay, and in fact, if you say and if you oppose this thing, you might actually face a slap in the face today, right? And you can be cancelled. And there can be some violent threats too, because you're denying someone else's identity, therefore you deny their existence. Yes, Chandraji.
No, I mean that was the point, right? So this whole, and I was also about to say the same thing. The cancel culture, which kind of so rampant that it can completely run counter to reality, or I mean the generally accepted reality, and all of a sudden you become irrelevant, and it's like going off in tangents with no grounding, no reality, no understanding of the consequence of what you're saying, right? I mean, this is okay. The gender identity is something, okay, I understand, right? It's also, it has long-term consequence for that person's future, and there is no thought process for that. The second thing is, especially when you are allowed to destroy property or threaten other people's life, other and break law and order. I mean, various things, right? Like for example, threatening the Jewish student for for something completely unrelated to what that student has ever done, or those type of things have serious consequences, and this relative reality or relative perceived reality of wokeism doesn't even cognize that, doesn't even recognize that, hey, I may be causing harm. It's like, hey, I feel like this, you are a bad person because I say so, so you are a bad person and I have a right to threaten you, which is very dangerous,
Dangerous, yes.
slippery slope for me.
You see, when when you make groups with your shared experiences that are completely unrhythm, you're going against reality. Your reality itself is the enemy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is the way to dharma. That is the way to destruction. Yeah. But even to say such things today, it's becoming dangerous. And you see the tension every day. There is tension. Nobody thought, when you came to this country, you even think that there would be something like this. It's interesting.
How do you suggest we navigate this? Because there is one thing. I mean, I guess one thing that we could all do is just be silent and move away from such situations, so as to say. But when it's happening when it's so prevalent everywhere around us, 360, then where can we move? We can't just keep moving away from everything, right? And the thing is, what we do is what our children are seeing. So how, and there's also we can sort of quote unquote speak our truth, but again, it becomes our truth in their eyes, right? Whoever we're speaking to, it's like, oh, that's your truth. How do we navigate this when our children are watching us?
And I think to the sensible ones, we can only say, well, you have to use the pramanas when you're using it anyway. When you're denying, it's like Immanuel Kant writing a huge treatise on the critique of pure reason, using reason. So the self-contradicting thought will always be there, and you got to point towards self-contradictions. I don't have like a set of instructions on this one at this moment, but it does appear like this has become a culture in the universities, and even in animation stories, even in Star Trek for that matter. When you see the modern Star Trek, it has changed quite a bit. It is not about objectivity, science, and things like that. They are pushing certain agenda. So even the scientific realms have changed a lot. So therefore, it's a cultural movement, and the only antidote to cultural movement is education and proper grounding in how you raise kids, how you talk to your peers that are in your spheres of influence. Other than that, running away is not a solution. And at the end of the day, satyameva jayate. That is constantly said, and this has been time and again proven. And there is a reason why they say. They did not say dharma eva jayate. They said dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. If you protect dharma will protect you. But satyameva jayate. We'll come to that point when we have more discussion on the dharma itself and the ethics and niti and those kind of things. So currently it's about satya, the interface of Rutam and satya, and that is Nyaya's realm. We'll come back to it in about 2 minutes. If we have time, you can have more discussion.
Yeah, actually, we are towards the end of the session, so let us give a couple of minutes to wrap up.
Yeah. So here, the post, we're contradicting with woke and post woke, and how we're comparing here is that self or the Atman, it is pure consciousness, and it's a relational subject. It transcends empirical reality. What I mean is, even the rhythm has to be experienced because of your consciousness, right? So consciousness comes first, and rhythm is what is behind, according to the Upanishads, what is bigger than the rhythm? Brahman, the pure consciousness. Right? But in woke, there's no such thing, right? There's no ontological truths. It's all social constructs. They're psychological truths, but no ontological, independent of mind. So it's all socially embedded, identity defined. So post-woke is all about reflexive selfhood, pluralism, polylogism, your truth versus my truth, and all that. So, what is freedom and liberation? Yes, we do define freedom and liberation through viveka and moksha. Viveka is the means, and the moksha is the end. But it has to be valid knowledge that corresponds to rhythm. But work is a you dismantle system, dismantle Hindutva, dismantle this, dismantle that, dismantle oppressive regimes, dismantle systems. Right? So that's how you achieve your liberation. And post-wokeism is all about through integration, meaning, and justice. You gotta have that people power with you. So integrate and then make groups with those who you agree. So how is dharma entering? So your question, Shivakamiji. So we don't talk about dharma, especially in Nyaya, but that is deliberate. Its position, Nyaya's position is that without correct knowledge, right action is impossible. So you got to learn what is Rutam, what is Satya. And then through the orderly means of understanding reality, through the valid means of pramanas, arrive at Satya, and then you do see all the Dharma Shastras use Nyaya and Mimamsa very rigorously. And how do they implement it? Because there are so many things that are abstract. They implemented it and showed through concrete actions of specific characters in the epics, in the Mahakavyas. And they showed that every situation will have those kinds of conflicts, which is called Dharma Sankata, and how those epic heroes sail through that thing. So those are the examples. They are wrote because Rutam and Satya, these are all pretty abstract and they can be just instruction manuals. You have to have a lived experience that needs to be shown through arts. That's why Kavyas are at the peak in the Indic civilization. Rasa, Brahma, and Dharma. These are the three pillars, the distinguishable features of Sanatana Dharma. Rasa, Brahma, and Dharma. Brahma is the consciousness, Dharma is the conduct, and Rasa is the spiritual experience that you get through arts. That is what is distinguishable in Bharatiya Darshanas, in Bharatiya civilization. So adharma, how do you recognize that thing is false cognition of Rutam, wrong inference, therefore wrong action, and that results in disorder. So Anruta is denying reality. The moment you see people denying reality and then focusing more on the social acceptance, peer pressures, that is when you know Anrutam is happening. So that will lead to Asatya distorting the truth and acting from error. So Nyaya is to prevent the adharma by preventing Asatya. So that's its goal. So we did not define dharma till now. So it is just preparing the ground for Mimamsa, which is rituals and duty, Vedanta, which is the Moksha Shastra, and the governance, which is Raja Dharma. If you don't know what is true, you cannot know what is right. So that is our session today. Reality is mapped and Prama is known. What is Aprama, Artha, Satya? And our action that is guided by Prama is endorsed in the Nyaya Shastras. It talks about all kinds of errors and adharma because of asatya. So with that thing, all right, we can stop the recording, and then if anybody is interested, please shoot your questions and make your comments.
Okay. So namaste everybody. Dhanyavad Srini Mahoday. Let us do a Shanti mantra before we stop the recording. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Yeah.